Hey, good morning, everybody. Happy Wednesday morning. When it's dark like this, I always feel like some kind of crazy superhero because I'm up way early. And really, it's not that early. It's like 7:38 in the morning right now. But I still feel like all like, woohoo, look at me. I'm up before dark. Anyways, good morning. I'm Rita Hickman. I'm a body mind expert and a shiatsu massage therapist, and I help women in toxic and narcissistic relationships find their way out, whether it's getting out of the relationship or out of their own habits and patterns that keep them stuck in really toxic, dramatic, painful, overwhelming sorts of situations and relationships, whether it's your boss, whether it's your spouse, whether it's your kid, whether it's your mom, whether it's your brother, whatever it may be, whether it's your dad. We help you really find your voice and learn the tools and the skills that you need to navigate this and navigate it in a way where you personally don't get screwed, where you personally don't end up beat up over and over and over again. We help you create the life that you're supposed to have, not the life that uh, is going on right now. So today we're talking about basically where do narcissists come from and what kind of families do they come from. So, contrary to popular belief, most families most narcissists do not come from healthy situations. In fact, this is one of the things that tends to draw a lot of empaths in. What draws a lot of empaths in is the stories. A narcissist will tell all sorts of stories about their past. And many of them are true. You should actually believe a lot of them because people don't end up with that many dysfunctional relationship skills and beliefs and ideas about how the world works without having some serious dysfunction in their past. So many narcissists had very disordered families, and whether they were the one that always got praise, whether they were the one that always got the benefits, or whether they were the one that always got beat up, the golden child and then the scapegoat. No matter which, uh, and I've seen narcissists one or both. There isn't any, magic rule of thumb to make sure that somebody has empathy or not. So, but many people actually who were the golden child, who were the one that got lots of benefits, they've got a lot of issues too because they walk out into the world without as much resilience because they're used to everything going their way all of the time. And then when things don't go their way, or it's a new situation, or it's an uncomfortable situation, they don't have the skills. They weren't able to develop those skills. Versus, let's say you were the scapegoat. You know what? You learned the skills to survive. If you were the one that was getting all of the crap and all of the issues, you learned how to make it through. And you ended up with anxiety problems and depression problems and the skills that you developed to make it through. Some are good and some are not so good. Some you say, aha, when I do this makes the relationship go forward. But many of them that come out from anxiety and depression are reactionary. They're based on stress and pain and old patterns of being not heard or not validated or your needs not being met. So a lot of narcissists, they'll come up with things like, nobody's listening to me. You don't listen to me. You don't give me what I need. It's all your fault that I'm unhappy. Things like that. Those are the messages that they received as kids. Oh my God. The stories I hear sometimes about what goes on in families, in a lot of families, not just 1 out of 10. We're talking, we probably have like at least half, if not much more, if we start looking at things worldwide, where there's this, it's not a healthy upbringing. So if someone also has an underlying physical thing going on, let's say ADD, ADHD, bipolar, things like that, if they've got that plus PTSD, they are out of luck. because now they're the crazy one in a crazy family. And you definitely don't get the things that you need to work through your mental or physical disorder that's going on. And it just makes everything worse. So, one of the things that empaths love is someone coming into their life with so much drama. Not necessarily drama, but with so much woundedness. It's like aha, it's almost like a magnet sometimes. Like, oh my goodness, you have so much going on. I can help. I know I can help. And so empaths tune into those sorts of things, and many times they naively walk into situations with people who have a lot more problems than we recognize, because the narcissist is very, very, very good at pretending like they don't have any problems, that there isn't anything wrong, until they get to the one or two people that they vent their frustrations on. So narcissists come from a wide variety of families, but generally they don't come from healthy families. They don't come from families that are well balanced and the kids get what they needed and validated to work through whatever issues they may have. They don't get that support. Um, but the problem is, for most women who are drawn to narcissists, as I said, is that thing of I can fix it. I remember when I used to run a nature center, and I was so excited. I was young. It was my first big career after college. And they said, you can have the job, but the person who had your job has been demoted. And there's only like three people, working at this nature center. And one of them is the ex director, because they couldn't find it within themselves to move her on, to get rid of her. So they demoted her and brought in some 20 something, to tell her what to do. I mean, just craziness. And me, as an empath healer type, walked in. I said, oh, it's no problem. I'm not going to fire her. People just need, they just need a little support. They just need to be heard. You just didn't listen to her. And that's the problem that empaths get into, is that we don't truly recognize the extent of the woundedness, or of the coping skills, or of the fear, or of the anxiety, or of the physical condition. There's a lot of secrets. And so when empath walks in, sees what they see with someone who seems to be amazing, because they also learned how to look that way, from looking at the golden child, from always being told what they needed to look like, how they needed to respond. What stuff looks like is very, very important in many of these disordered families, because it needs to look okay. As long as it looks okay, then nobody knows that we have this much dysfunction: alcoholism, or drug addiction, or mental health issues, or physical abuse, or sexual abuse, or lots of families don't know this stuff is going on, or emotional abuse, or rageaholic, or whatever it may be. So image is very, very important. And so empaths walk in, they say, wow, you've got this amazing image. And I can tell that underneath it all, you're really a good person. You just have a few issues to work through. What happens is they have a lot more issues to work through than someone is ever expecting, than they ever realize. So if you are empathic, or compassionate, or caring, or anything like that, here's a lesson I want you to soak into your head. When you meet people, you need to decide for yourself, whether you want to be in a relationship with them. And when you come at it not being swept off your feet, but as in, is this what I really want? It's almost like if you go to a job and you're interviewing the job. You're like, is this the job that I want? Is this the relationship that I want? Is this the person that I want in my life? Empaths tend to come from such a big hearted, open, loving space that they just want to embrace everybody and heal everybody and fix the world, because that's what we're here to do. We're here to love everyone. And but some people are beyond our wheelhouse. They need something that we can't give, because many narcissists don't need that warm, loving, soft love that many empaths bring to the table, because they themselves were wounded and they want to give what they never received. They want to be what they never could be. And the narcissist is a perfect opportunity with all of these stories about their family and the abuse and the terrible things that happened, and and how they survived and how you're so proud of them. I mean, it's craziness. It's absolute craziness. So, I want you to realize that you you get to realize that the world's filled with a lot of people, and you might not be the right fit for them no matter how amazing they are. And the lesson you might be needing to learn from this whole situation is how to not just let everything and everybody in your life so that you get victimized over and over and over, but to respect yourself enough that you check out whether someone's a good fit for you or not. Because just because you aren't interested in a relationship with someone who has that much dysfunction doesn't mean that someone else isn't wired better. Many times narcissists do well with people who are more on the autism and Asperger's scale, because then it's two independent people having lives, and there just isn't the whole emotional drama, and they can be really great partners. They can be really great fits. A narcissist and a codependent, a narcissist and an empath is not necessarily the best fit unless the empath is a really great healer, and unless the empath has community support and boundaries and a voice and strength, and they're the ones who take the lead in the relationship. Then when they are willing and happy and perfectly accepting to give tough love, to give love, that compassion and love that comes with compassion and love for both of you, not one of you and then the other one sacrifices or suffers. When you have a healthy understanding, then you can make a positive impact. But until you work on your own things, until you find your voice, until you stand up for yourself in your personal relationships, not just in your professional ones, but when you're able to do that, that's when people who have issues but want to grow, those are the people that grow. And the people who have issues but don't want to grow and have no desire to grow, and maybe they've got too much going on, then you learn that too. You realize that those people they need to find somebody who is less empathic, somebody who is less, has less issues of their own to work through. They need to find somebody who's a better fit, and you need to find somebody who's a better fit too. So just because someone comes from a wounded family or a wounded past does not mean that they are wanting to be saved from it. They might be comfortable with all of that, to the best of their ability. Not like comfortable. I wouldn't be comfortable, but that's the reality that they're used to, and everything else is too scary and too unknown. And it's easier to stay with what you know than it is to try something new, because it's just too uncomfortable. So those are the sorts of families that narcissists come from. They usually come from families that have a checkered past, but you may never know that checkered past because there's that gloss and that face on the front, and you just don't know these things until you get closer to the family, or until you put a couple tests or boundaries in place. When you meet someone, set a boundary, say no, and see how they handle it. Sometimes at the beginning of a relationship, get upset about something, have a small conflict, and see how they handle it. Because you're looking for a relationship that will be good for the long term. You're looking for people that you want in your life for a long time. And so you need to see if they've got the chops to handle relationships, if they're ready for that kind of a relationship, one that's give and take and loving and caring and has self-control. You have to see if they're ready for that. If they aren't ready, no matter how wonderful they are down the road, it's all going to blow up. They're going to blow everything up because it's not sustainable. If you're not really happy inside with good, with good relationship skills and whatnot, it's not sustainable. It all falls apart. Okay. Everybody has to grow. Everybody has to evolve, or it's going to blow up. And so you get to decide on the front end whether somebody is worth your time or not. And it's not that they aren't worth somebody's time. It's just that you have other things that you need to be doing. You have other people that you need to be being in relationship with. And a narcissist isn't necessarily the one that you need to be with. They need to find somebody who's a better fit for them, a better mental temperament for their equal, which is not necessarily an empath or someone who is super compassionate, or somebody who has a lot of wounds of their own. Okay. So if you know anybody who needs some help with this stuff, please share the videos. We're trying to raise everybody up. And for people who need help or more assistance, we've got a large free searchable library of these live streams. We've got one-on-one coaching that I do with women. We've got the coaching group that is filled with a beautiful support group of women who have been in narcissistic relationships and healing from it. And for healers themselves, people who want to become a healer, I've got year-long healership programs where I work with you one-on-one, and you really clean up the stuff and learn the skills to become the healer that you want to be. Okay. So if you're in a service profession or a mental health profession or a coach or a doctor or psychologist or a counselor or a nurse, any of that, consider doing our healership program, our year-long program, where you can go from being Western medicine to being more of a holistic healer. Okay. So I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll talk to you later. Okay. See you tomorrow. Bye.